Hi there, folks. This is Tony with Bellingham Brothers Productions. Just want to do a quick shout out. This space that we use for recording when it's both me and Doug is my friend Thomas's house. He lives just up the street from me, and he's very gracious in letting us use both his incredibly good quality microphone and pretty much the best webcam you can buy on the market, which is what we're recording this video with. Anyways, we are here again with another album pickups video. We've got a lot of music in store for you guys to look at. I'll leave links to different songs in our comment section, not the comment section, description section. You know what I mean, down below. So yeah, gonna start off with Doug this time because I, believe it or not, have more albums than him.
I know it's a big shock to me this time that you're able to get so much more, but hey,
yeah,
you know, paychecks come in.
Paychecks. Anyways, let's kick it off. All right.
So I had some interesting things recently. Some things I had to pull the legs. I had to really kind of force the local record store guys to help me order because they were having trouble with it. But let me get on with this here. So the first one I actually found this used at a store in Seattle. This is Thunderstone's album, The Burning. Here, I'll show that to you. This is it's a really solid power metal album. It's released 2004, Nuclear Blast. If you just like good pure power metal, it's not overly cheesy. This is something you'll probably want. It got a lot of really good guitar melodies and stuff on there. The vocalist performance is really solid. Just
oh man, the hair.
Yeah.
It's all in the hair.
All in the hair. It's generally just solid music. So I enjoyed it. It's nothing I would say that breaks any ground. Nothing that's, oh my god, this has changed the face of music forever. But it's a really solid work of power metal music. All right. So next off, we've got this is what caused me hell with the local record store guys, because I was trying to get them to order this, but apparently it was back ordered and had to import it from Australia or something. They were just having a lot of trouble. But this is the 2012 debut by the album Neo Obliviscaris. Neo Obliviscaris, it's Latin shit, means lest we forget. This is the debut album by them. They come straight out of Australia, and it was just in 2012. So it was really cool to be able to get a hold of this one. After they finally were able to order it, of course. And it's a really cool one because the band they have a violinist, so I guess that sounds a little gimmicky at first, but the way they work with a violinist, they do kind of a dual harmony with the lead guitarist and the violinist, and they sort of do. Now, oftentimes there's a bit of a call and response, and their music is I would say compare it to a bit of Opeth style and a bit of Emperor here and there. So it's kind of a progressive death black metal kind of thing, and they have the really interesting song structures. There's some very cool sort of sonic tapestries weaved by their music, and it's very, very technical. So I would say recommend checking it out. It was really, really strong for a debut album, and I couldn't stress enough that these guys are going to be going places soon.
And as debut albums go, that is some kick-ass cover art. Right?
Oh yeah, no, I was kind of surprised at how professional they were able to get with it. And of course, I would also recommend get the album. They give you a free poster with it.
Yeah, the physical version. It's always nice to get the physical versions of CDs because you get really cool stuff from them.
Right, and of course, keeping in tradition with a lot of these newer guys, they want to make sure you get the most out of your money. So next in the used bargain bin, well, it wasn't really bargain bin, but it was $8, so it's pretty good. We have Dark Tranquillity's Damage Done. This is the classic album. I guess a lot of people would call the Gallery their classic, but I personally say this is probably as good as it's gotten as far as Dark Tranquillity, in my opinion. This album was sort of the pinnacle of their style. It has this sort of there's these occasional, they have these really strong industrial kind of keyboard synth kind kind of stuff going on in their new albums. But this was the album where that industrial synth-oriented stuff and the good old school melodic death metal had this complete harmony in their music, and it was just really strong songwriting, just a really strong album in general. I would say it's a must listen if you are into the melodic death metal genre, or if you claim to be. This is just a classic album.
Which is funny because I'm really into melodic death metal and I've not heard of these guys. So from what he's told me, I should feel ashamed. I should get run out of town, tarred, feathered, stuff like that. But anyways, luckily he's actually let me rip all these CDs onto my computer. So I'm going to be listening to a lot of this over the coming weeks. Dark Tranquility is probably the first one. But anyways, I'll let him get on to his review.
We'll be able to spare you the shame now. Mm-hmm. We don't have to do the whole ceremony. I saved you just in time, really. So next we have Melekesh, the Epigenesis. Now I saw these guys open for Rotting Christ a few years ago in Seattle, and both bands put on a great show. I love seeing both of them. But this one particularly caught my eye with the 2010 album, the Epigenesis, and so I figured it was probably about time that I got the album. This band is an interesting one because they're a black metal band that works in Mesopotamian and Sumerian mythology into their music, and the Middle Eastern vibes and influences really show in their songwriting. And I just thought that was a really cool thing to introduce to a style of music, because there are bands like Orphanland that have done the Middle Eastern style, but these guys have a bit more of an aggressive approach to their music. And Orphanland, they will often do Jewish or Muslim or more modern kind of theological kind of historical themes in their music. Whereas I really liked how Melekesh goes all the way back to Sumeria and Mesopotamia, and they have all those ancient themes. It's a bit like for fans of Nile, I would say, but they really push more of that the Middle Eastern musical influences in their music. So I really recommend it.
I wonder if there's any bands that try and do like Scientology based things like that. I just want to see if that's a thing. That would
Scientology metal. I would think that they probably spent all their money on the Church of Scientology, so they probably can't afford instruments.
They probably have pretty shitty instruments, but
right, all their money went to the church.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe the guys who run the church, if they started a band, the official Scientology church band.
We love you, Cleveland. Pay our bills tax free. Woo! Anyways, on to his
next thing. I got this for really cheap today. This is Deliverance by Opeth. Now, personally, this is one of my favorite Opeth albums. I've always liked Opeth. I'm a big fan of Blackwater Park and Still Life and Ghost Reveries, a lot of those albums. But this one, I call me old school death metal fan or whatever, but I like this one personally the best because this is where Michael Ackerfeld said, all right, let's because they did the double album where they did Deliverance and Damnation, and in these
I love
Damnation was really great. I love it, but they wanted to do, I guess it was sort of a polar opposite thing, where in Damnation they had pretty much all acoustic, and in this one they said, let's go old school death metal roots, or let's go all out on the death metal part, more aggressive songwriting. Let's make this album the heavy one. And I actually, it was really cool just to see what Opeth does when they just want to make something really heavy. And it sounded great because they still have their progressive vibe to it, of course. But it's cool to see what can happen when a band as talented as these guys just want to do something really heavy.
Pardon me with the computer faffing about. I just wanted to check something.
He's just checking
real quick.
Well, fortunately, I have something else to talk to before he's done.
Oh yeah.
The last one I got recently, this is another one I got pretty cheap, $6, is Aerion's Into the Electric Castle. Now this is a rock metal opera, if I ever heard one. It even says on the cover, a space opera. So you are in for something epic in this music. It's you could tell the guy was setting out to do a magnum opus of an album when he wrote this album. In fact, he even says in the hang on, let me take off my glove. Don't need to wear that now anyway. Not freezing in here. It even says, because my second Ayreon album, Actual Fantasy, didn't sell as well as I'd hoped, maybe because it was a bit too different from the first album, I realized the third album had to be an absolute killer. Otherwise, this very well could have meant the end of the Ayreon project. So, right off the bat, when you just open the sleeve, you can kind of tell this guy was sort of on his last leg, and this had to be something fantastic, or he was out of luck. Kind of like Final Fantasy, how they started.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like a lot of great things start out of that. And Ayreon's still kicking it today, so this album, well, had to be fantastic, and he accomplished his job. All the songs are just amazingly well written. The whole thing's orchestrated. Like, it is an opera in the traditional sense of the word, but done in the heavy metal style. So it's a really fantastic listen. I mean, if you have the time, it's a two CD set, so it's a very long piece. But if you have the time, I would definitely recommend listening start to finish. It's a very immersive, cool experience.
And again, with a lot of the things that we're showing today, really cool album art.
Yeah, a lot of this one had a kind of cool, complex little picture of the electric castle there. It has a cool concept to it, too. There's
All right.
a story. Anyways, on to you, Anthony.
So he's probably going to be inputting a bit more than I have been on his CDs, because a lot of his, they're sort of obscure to me because I've not heard of these bands. I mean, I've heard of Ne Oblivis Scares, or however you say that one. The annoyingly Latin one. Faff about with that. I've heard of them, never listened to them. Probably going to now. Of course I'm going to listen to it. Anyways, so the first album I bought this on a whim because I like the band with the original singer. Yeah. Yeah, I like the band with the original singer, and I really like sort of Soviet or communistic propaganda art styles. Just the blocky, sort of really old world, America sucks type thing. And I love the United States and stuff like that.
What? You don't like America? What the hell's wrong with you, boy?
But the communistic nations seem to have art and propaganda down pat. Anyways, that album is Sepultura's Nation. Now, I was in my local record store and I saw this, and I just saw all of the cool album art. It made me think that it was going to be very, dark and depressing and very,
dark
Soviet.
Oh, right.
I don't mean like depressing as in like depressingly bad, because that's where it turned out to be, is depressingly bad.
Yeah. Well, Sepultura started out, they were probably like one of the greatest thrash metal bands of the old, the late 80s. And Arise is one of my favorite thrash albums of all time.
Which, believe it or not, that's the one I was looking for, but I couldn't find it, so I picked this one up instead.
It also had really fantastic album art. It was that weird, like, lobster monster thing with the eyeball. Yeah. It was. I mean, they owned the scene from Brazil back in the day, and they knew what they were doing. But I would say, yeah, well, I wouldn't say after Max Calavera's departure, because it started getting bad before that. Then the new metal things started getting really popular in the 90s, and
that's
90s
where this came about. Yeah, late 90s new metal started getting its craze because of Linkin Park. You can thank them and System of a Down for Sepultura sounding like crap. Because really, this album, it's not bad, but it's really not good in any stretch of the word. And I just really wish it was better. I really do, because I spent $7 on it, and believe it or not, I'm going to keep it just because of the art, the album arts that it has on it, with all of the really cool Soviet posters on it. I mean, look at this. Like, it's got a poster of Lenin and Stalin right there, a double poster, and that's really cool. It's my favorite art style. So yeah, I'm just keeping it for that sake. The CD is just a ring of plastic for me right now.
You use it as a coaster for your cup.
Exactly. Now, next up is pretty much what got me into sort of heavier progressive metal. I can pinpoint the exact song, and it is Opeth's Ghost Reveries.
Woo.
Yep, and he actually just mentioned it earlier in the video. And this was sort of one of the albums, this is the album where they started combining both of their really heavier side with their softer, more melodic, acoustic-y, we're emotional side. And Harlequin Forest is the song that started getting me into these guys and heavier music in general. And I have to thank them for it because, fuck, that is a really good song. And just the album is really good. And I love the cover art, or the album art, sorry. I've been playing a lot of video games lately, so I'm saying things as cover art. I love the album art on it. It's very simple.
It shows it's a cool image though. It's very it's abstract, but it really gets this kind of weird, kind of ghosty kind of vibe to it, which I guess was supposed to be the point of the album.
And I like the CD how it's got that matte yet metallic shiny writing on it.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Kind of cool. Opeth tends to do that. Now about that album, that was interesting because that was one of the first exposures I got to more extreme metal. Back in 2005. They were playing on MTV Headbangers Ball. I used to watch that show back when it came on. It was like my Saturday night thing. But they were playing the Grand Conjuration music video on TV, and of course it was only like a 5-minute clip of the song, but it was still like, oh my god, this is one of the coolest things I've seen. And it was sort of one of those things that sort of opened my eyes to a bit more like this sort of extreme progressive and kind of melodic death metal stuff that I got into when I was a teenager and stuff. So I thought I have to thank that song because before that I'd heard stuff like Pantera and I'd been listening to thrash, but that was the first of really more extreme stuff that I'd heard.
Now next up that I have, the next CD I have is Saxon's Call to Arms. Yeah, he really loves these guys.
I love Saxon.
Yeah.
Saxon, it's hard for a band to stay. I don't think there are very few bands that I think stay as consistent as Saxon do. Saxon may not break ground or do anything new in the heavy metal world, but they do badass stuff.
They're consistently really, really, really good. All their songs are really, really good. They may not be creative in a lot of the sense because they're still sort of clinging onto that speed metal, new wave of British heavy metal. But that's not a bad thing because they're really good at it.
They're just badass enough to pull it off and keep pulling it off.
Plus, a lot of the songs that they do are just like fucking like balls to the floor, kick-ass, like awesome.
They just sing about kick-ass things. They make kick-ass music about kick-ass stuff, like Afterburners about fighter jets. They just know how to. But I mean, they even make songs about like the most mundane of things, just badass. Like,
and then there's what was it, the Working Man's
the Ballad of the Working Man. Yeah, that song's about going to work, working in factories and stuff, and they make it sound badass.
Yeah. And it's I really like this album. It's from 2011, right?
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah, 2011, and it's really good. I recommend actually all the songs or all the CDs that we have. I recommend you go out and listen to, except for Sepultura. Yeah, it's bad. Anyways, next up is Propagandi's Potemkin City Limits. Now, this is a punk band from Canada. Same exact city that Protest the Hero is from, which is one of my favorite progressive bands. And they are really, really cool because they're a punk band that sort of combines the sort of really fast punk music, but a lot of, chuggy or chunky stuff from heavy metal. And it's really, 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 really good. Really good. And they're sort of, you could say, they're what Rise Against wants to be. Because they're that political band that's, they like this digipack is made out of recycled paper and plastic. Go figure, hippies and stuff. And just all around, they're really good. I haven't listened to them much more other than this one and their new album, Failed States, which is a really good album because they have a second guitarist now. So they can be a lot more creative in their guitarmanship. Not guitarmanship. That's not a fucking word. Sorry. Instrumentation. I'm a little tired right now. But anyways, yeah, I recommend that you guys go get this, and yeah, it's really good. Next up is, I feel really bad about not listening to these guys before, and I mean I did before I started actually enjoying the heavier side of metal, the angrier, screamier side. But the group I'm talking about is Between the Buried and Me, and this is the Parallax 2 Future Sequence. And I am a complete sucker for things that are science fiction, and so I didn't know that this was a science fiction concept album when I first bought it for him, because I bought it for him for a Christmas present.
I've always been a really big fan of since 2006 I've been a really big fan of Between the Buried and Me when I first heard Alaska. And so when I leap on top of that one, because new Between the Buried and Me, after I really like Colors, and I didn't actually really listen to The Great Misdirect, which was their one. It came, I think, 2009, but this was really cool because it was Between the Buried and Me, and then I hear, oh hey, it's going to be a sci-fi concept album and a follow-up to their latest EP,
the original,
which was the first Parallax sequence. But I generally don't go for EPs, but this one, a full sci-fi concept album by Between the Buried and Me, I couldn't resist.
And also, I do have to say, before we get into the musical side of things, the art and the booklet that they give you with this thing is just top notch. Top notch. Out of all the things here, this has my favorite art in it. I've been on a huge science fiction kick lately. I just actually bought 2 science fiction horror books today, and it's really cool because you get to see the ship that they are on this voyage on, that they're talking about in the song, singing about, screaming, whatever.
They do a bit of both.
Yeah. So the musicianship on this is fantastic. Now, this is one of the things that a lot of people seem to have a problem with, is that Between the Buried and Me does not revisit riffs in their songs. They
occasionally you'll hear them, like there's the song. The song, I believe it would be "Lay Your Ghost to Rest." Mm-hmm. They do revisit. There's one line in the song that they sort of revisit.
Yeah, they do. But what I really like,
and they've done it a bit before in their older stuff, but there's a lot of syncopation in their work. They like just going one place to the next place to the next place, and then all of a sudden it's Looney Tunes. They're crazy with their work, to say the least.
What I really like about that is it gives this album a sense of progression, even more than a lot of other progressive metal outfits, because you feel like they're constantly moving to a new place in this story or the music, and that gives more of a complete sense of the concept, because you don't really see that. You see a lot of bands revisit the same exact riff over and over in a song for like 10 minutes, and then that's kind of annoying to me.
Right.
Unless it's a really good riff. Say, take Periphery, where I'm a huge fanboy for those guys. But it's a completely different kind of progressive. So I'm really happy I started listening to these guys. In fact, I will consistently keep revisiting this album over and over. It is a joy to listen to, no matter where I am. And I love to annoy people with it because of the intense, screaming that they have in this.
And it's pretty crazy. Oftentimes...
Oh, the Looney Tunes bits.
Yeah,
cool.
The Looney Tunes
There's
bits.
Harpsichords. There's a bit in Extremophile Elite where they'll just go into this xylophone and tuba thing, and you're just sitting there like, my God, they went off their meds. But
what are they doing?
Yeah. It makes sense in the grand scheme of the song, because it's like the people on the ship are going crazy, going to this new place. Right. Anyways, I feel like we've talked a lot on this. Just suffice it to say, really fucking good. Go buy it. You'll love it.
Definitely check it out.
Next up is, well, it's not metal in any sense of the word.
I'm out.
But it's pretty much one of the quintessential albums of the 90s if you're talking about this sort of genre, because it helped popularize the genre that it is, and does it flawlessly. It is the Crystal Methods Vegas, and
is that the one with "Bring It On, You Motherfuckers"?
no, that's Tweekend.
Oh, okay.
And that one is, I believe they're 2002. 2002, I think 2000. I don't know.
They said listen up, you motherfuckers.
I don't fucking know.
Also, we have another person in the room. He's the guy who helped us with a few of the camera shots earlier.
Hey!
Yeah, he's silly. Anyways, all of these songs on here are fantastic. It's like Fatboy Slim. This album sort of popularized the big beat genre, and without these guys and stuff like the Prodigy and Fatboy Slim, I probably would not love techno or any sort of electronic music, because I listened to a lot of them when I was like say 8 up. Well, screw it, I still listen to a lot of them, but they're really what got me interested in that form of music, and I'm really happy that I have this album because it's a piece of history. It is one of the best and highly rated electronic music albums of all time. So now on to my final one, and this one has a special place near and dear in my heart, partly because the band also has my favorite album of all time, but also because my girlfriend bought it for me on one of our dates. She got me the special edition of Leviathan by Mastodon. It comes with the normal CD, and it also comes with an audio DVD with the songs Naked Burn, Aqua Dementia, Hearts Alive, Where Strides the Behemoth, Battle at Sea, Thank You for This, We Built This, Come Death, and Crusher Destroyer. And I do have to say, I fucking love the album art on this.
And they did do a pretty fantastic job with that.
And just
art. It was really cool.
The album art and just the whole case design, the black and gold, I really like it. There's the front side, there's the back side. Anyways, this is, I believe...
That would be their... It was after Remission.
Third,
yeah.
It's the third album.
Third one, yeah.
And this, I actually didn't listen to it until I listened to Crack the Sky, because I wanted to see what else the band has done in their many musical journeys. And I found this, and I really dug it. And being that we are so close to the ocean in our town, we live in the Pacific.
Right at the ocean.
Yeah, we live in the Pacific Northwest, and we live right on the ocean. So, concept album about water was really interesting to me. And
the whole Moby Dick thing.
Yeah.
Always a fun thing. I that was another one that I heard back in about 2006 when I was first getting into a lot of more extreme metal stuff, and that was, of course, anyone who was there for the music video for Blood and Thunder.
Yeah,
that's not something you forget anytime soon. That was
pretty silly.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous thing. So that I guess you could say that left an impression on me. Mm-hmm. And of course I got right into Mastodon after that song. That was just like, all right, I'm into this band. And so it was interesting getting into Mastodon when they released that album, mm-hmm. because it was cool to see how much they evolved as they went on. Mm-hmm. Like when they made Blood Mountain. And then went on to Crack the Sky, which it was just this ridiculous journey between then and there, mm-hmm. and it was one of those things where it's just crazy to just see how much that band evolved.
Mm-hmm. And they're also, along with Saxon, they're pretty much one of the most consistent bands.
Well, consistently good, but they definitely
not consistent style wise. No, they bounce around like a ball, but their quality and their ability to be incredible musicians and songwriters it's apparent in all their albums. So anyways, that is the last album that we're going to be showcasing tonight that we have bought recently. Stay tuned for more content on music, movies, reviews, anything. We're going to be trying to get a movie review show up off the ground soon. One of our content producers, Avi, I'm going to try and see if we can get him to actually helm that, because his synchronicity videos, they're nice, but we'd like to get some more from our content producers, because, I mean, even he wasn't even one of the original content producers, and he expressed interest in being a reviewer for our channel. So
Well, I'm hoping to in the future continue maybe working on because you do the metal reviews, but
Yeah.
since there's some stuff that you might not really listen to, I'm thinking perhaps just working more and more with the extreme sort of death metal side of stuff.
That would probably work. I'm going to try and start moving over into all forms of music soon. You know, electronic, indie rock, what have you, stuff like that. Still gonna do metal because I do really like metal, and a lot of the times that's what I'll gravitate to if I have a choice. But I do love countless other forms of music, and I'm probably going to be recording for my top 12 actually. It is 12. Top 12 electronic albums of all time. So stay tuned for that. And this is Bellingham Brothers. This is Anthony Nelson signing out.
Doug signing off.
And we'll see you guys next time.
We travel